What is the purpose of creation? Part 2. 4. The basic message of Islam. The basic message of Islam is the same as the message of all the previous prophets. Worship Allah alone and avoid worshipping anything besides Him, whether it is a person, place or thing, directly or indirectly, secretly or openly. This basic principle of monotheism is contained in the 5th verse of the 1st chapter of the Quran, known as the opening. It is you we worship and you we ask for help. Quran 1:5. Allah has also said, worship Allah and associate nothing with Him. Quran 4:36. So whoever disbelieves in Taghut and believes in Allah has grasped the most trustworthy handhold, with no break in it. Quran 2:256. Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, the last prophet, is reported to have said, anyone who says, there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah and dies holding that belief will be granted paradise. Recorded by Bukhari and Muslim. Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim are two collections of the authentic, documented traditions and sayings of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, as recorded by the scholars Bukhari and Muslim respectively. Other collections have also been used as references in this book. 5. Proofs that only Allah deserves to be worshipped. Here is an obvious fact: Allah is the sole creator and sustainer of everything. This makes Him the only one deserving of our worship. It's really that simple. Supplication, for example, is an act of worship, where individuals direct their hearts to Allah and specify to Him their needs. Allah has instructed us to call upon Him. And your Lord says, call upon me, I will respond to you. Quran 40:60. The question then arises, why do people direct their worship to created objects such as idols? The fact is that the idols have no power of their own. Anything that results from that act of worship only comes about through the permission of Allah. When a person prays to an idol and his or her prayers are answered, it is not the idol which actually answers the prayers, but Allah. Similarly, prayers to Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, Buddha, Krishna, Saint Christopher, Saint Jude or Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, are not answered by them. They are answered by Allah. Consequently, prayers directed to anyone or anything other than Allah are of no avail, and the same applies to all other acts of worship, including charity and fasting. They must all be directed to Allah alone. The prophets were very explicit in their teachings that only Allah should be worshipped, and they were sent to teach this very message. They claimed neither fame nor status, and never once did they instruct the people to direct acts of worship to themselves. On the contrary, they warned their people against doing just that. For example, Islam teaches that Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, was a human being who was created by Allah in a miraculous way. He was born of a mother, Mary, without a father. He himself was neither God, Allah, nor the Son of God, and he worshipped Allah. He was not one of three manifestations of God, as Christians claim, nor was he the son of a prostitute, as some Jews have alleged. He told his people, the tribes of Israel, to worship Allah alone, not to worship either himself or his mother. Furthermore, Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, did not direct his acts of worship to himself, he worshipped Allah alone. Those who claim to be the followers of Jesus Christ actually do something other than what he taught. They worship Jesus himself. Some worship Mary, claiming that she is the mother of God. If Jesus himself did not instruct them, anywhere in the Bible, to worship him or his mother, much less a statue or picture of either of them, or a cross, how can they do this very act and yet claim to follow his message? Allah has said in the Quran, they have certainly disbelieved who say, Allah is the Messiah, the son of Mary, while the Messiah has said, O children of Israel, worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. Indeed, he who associates others with Allah, Allah has forbidden him paradise, and his abode is the fire. And there are not for the wrongdoers any helpers. Quran 5:72. Allah has also warned in the Quran that he will question Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, on the day of judgment regarding the Christians' worship of him and his mother. And, beware the day, when Allah will say, O Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as deities besides Allah? He will say, exalted are you. It was not for me to say that to which I have no right. If I had said it, you would have known it. You know what is within myself, and I do not know what is within yourself. Indeed, it is you who are knower of the unseen. I said no to them except what you commanded me, to worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. And I was a witness over them as long as I was among them, but when you took me up, you were the observer over them, and you are, over all things, witness. Quran 5:116-117. Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, was given life, he was born from a woman's womb and was circumcised. He felt hunger, pain and weariness. Since all these attributes are those of human beings and not of God, Allah, it is clear that Jesus was not God, Allah. Similarly, Buddha was a reformer who introduced a number of humanistic principles into the Hindu religion practiced in India. He did not claim to be God, nor did he suggest to his followers that he should be worshipped. Yet today, most Buddhists have made him their God, and they prostrate themselves before idols representing his likeness. Even in the supposedly monotheistic religions of Judaism and Christianity, followers over the ages have elevated a select few rabbis and church officials to the status of lawgivers who proclaim laws that are in direct contradiction to the laws brought by their prophets. This is a form of worshipping the creation instead of the Creator, who tells us that they have taken their scholars and monks as lords besides Allah. Quran 9:31. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, explained this verse to mean that by unquestioningly obeying them in matters which they made lawful or unlawful according to their desires, without any sanction from Allah, they have given these rabbis and priests the status of deities. Briefly, from the perspective of object worship, all religions today, except Islam, invite people to the worship of creation in one form or another. It should be noted here that some non-Muslims incorrectly label Islam as Mohammedanism. This phenomenon exists because it is tempting to elevate a beloved individual like Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, to a status far above his teachings, as was done in other religions. This is ironic since his very message was the negation of equating human beings, any human beings, with Allah. Islam teaches that Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was a human messenger who, like all other human beings, was required to worship Allah rather than be elevated to the status of Allah and be worshipped himself. Muhammad was a messenger and a slave of Allah. That is all. The status of a slave of Allah is the most beloved and honored position before Allah, and this status applies to all of his prophets and true followers. For more details, see Chapter 11, The Meaning of Worship in Islam. Allah's attributes prove that he alone deserves to be worshipped. He is one, without relatives, he has no father, son, mother, or wife. He is the eternal absolute. He neither gives birth nor was born, indeed, there is nothing like him. He is perfect in his knowledge, his power, his will, his mercy, and all his other attributes. Allah is all-powerful and perfect, while human beings are weak and imperfect. That is how he has defined himself and how all prophets have defined him. This agrees with what is mentioned in the Gospel of Barnabas, chapter 17, where Jesus said he alone hath no equal. He hath had no beginning, nor will he ever have an end, but to everything hath he given a beginning, and to everything shall he give an end. He hath no father nor mother, he hath no sons nor brethren nor companions. The Gospel of Barnabas is not included in today's Bible, but it is available on the internet. Therefore, it is only befitting that we direct all acts of worship to the one who fits this description. Worshipping anything else is futile. Another proof is the teaching of Islam that every soul has been imbued with the awareness of Allah and with a natural inclination towards worshipping him alone. In the Quran, Allah has explained that when he created Adam, PBUH, he caused all of Adam's descendants to come into existence, then he took a pledge from all of them, saying, "Am I not your Lord?" They said, "Yes, we have testified." Quran 7:172. Allah has then explained why he had all of humankind bear witness that he is their creator and the only true God, the only one worthy of worship. This, lest you should say on the day of resurrection, "Indeed, we were of this unaware." Quran 7:172. Allah has further elaborated on this point, saying, "Or, lest, you say, it was only that our fathers associated others in worship with Allah before, and we were but descendants after them. Then would you destroy us for what the falsifiers have done?" Quran 7:173. Therefore, people who associate partners with Allah in worship cannot claim on that day that they had no idea that Allah is the only one who deserves to be worshipped. If an individual never received any information about the right religion, though, he or she will be given a chance to accept it on the Day of Judgment. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, reported that Allah has said, "I created my slaves following the right religion, but the devils made them go astray." Recorded by Muslim. Also, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "Each child is born in a state of Islam. Then his parents make him a Jew, a Christian, or a Zoroastrian." Recorded by Bukhari and Muslim. Thus, Islam is the birthright of every human being, since every child is born with a natural belief in the existence of Allah and an inborn inclination towards worshipping him alone. Just as children submit to the physical laws which Allah has imposed on this physical world, their souls submit naturally to the fact that Allah is the only Lord and Creator. However, if their parents are following a different path, the children are usually neither strong enough nor aware enough to recognize the truth. Even if they do, they cannot resist the will of their parents. In such cases, the religion that the children ultimately follow is in line with their customs and upbringing. However, Allah, the most merciful and compassionate, will not hold them to account or punish them for following a false religion before they reach the age of reason and unless they are exposed to the pure message of Islam. To sum up, one can naturally, without the aid of other human influences, come to the conclusion that only Allah deserves to be worshipped. This conclusion is neither confusing nor elaborate. It can be arrived at by even the most uneducated. What happens, though, is that human influences often turn people away from this natural belief, which is why it needs to be explained here.